The Athletic performed an in-house media poll, and we do love in-house media polls on Adapt and Respond. Let's talk about them picking a Big Ten team to win the national championship and Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith to win the Heisman Trophy. Let's talk about what I think they got right and what I think they got wrong, and one of the reasons that I love these. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Do you agree with the Athletics' 28 writers, most of whom picked a Big Ten team to win the national championship, and most of whom picked Jeremiah Smith to win the Heisman Trophy? I got to say, off the rip, I really love in-house polls across ESPN, On3, The Athletic. Anybody that covers college football in depth, I probably read, and I probably know more than a handful of the writers on each one of those staffs, and I hold them all in very high esteem. I also enjoy this because it's media polls are performed by people who quite literally get paid to cover the sport, watch the sport, talk to people that are in the industry, in and around it, both that coach ball and the business of ball. And I will always believe that they know more than the public gives them credit for, myself included. And sometimes they see blind spots that coaches don't. And while each one of us always wants to know what a coach thinks, a coach is always going to have blinders on for the most part for his team and his program. And even if he doesn't, it's really difficult to get them to talk openly and honestly with attribution about teams that they're going to face or teams that they have not seen on film, because it's as closely guarded a brotherhood as anything else. What I also think is interesting about this is when media get these things right, nobody cares. When media gets these things wrong, everybody cares. I will remind you, a couple years ago, the Big 12 picked Arizona State to finish dead last in the 2024 season. And when Arizona State flipped 3-9 into a Big 12 championship, Brett Yormark decided that it was the media's fault and decided that they no longer want to do a media poll because it didn't help them when it came to ranking the teams later. I'm going, hey, dog, look, first of all, we ain't got nothing to do with ranking them teams in college football playoffs top 25. Second of all of us were as enthusiastic and responsive to a good Arizona State team as anybody else in the country. And I think the same is true of, say, Indiana, for instance. I was very early on Indiana. I had a one-on-one where I talked with Kurt Signetti 2 Novembers ago, talking about, hey, how do you put this thing together? And what people wrote millions of words about, I wrote about because he told me about in November. I want guys that have started multiple years at a previous place. I want them older, and I want them to be the best players at their position on whatever team they were on. Then I bring them together, and we make them a football team that wants to go win. And usually, they are willing to do whatever I ask them to do because they're tired of being on losers. So we built a winner. Ta-da! Among other things, right? And that's a Big Ten team that won a national championship, which makes 3 in a row for the Big Ten. Michigan, Ohio State, now Indiana, which leads me to, conveniently, who the Athletic picked. So 28 writers got votes, 1 vote per writer. One writer picked Texas Tech. Another picked Miami. Another picked LSU. Another picked Georgia. So that's 4 right there that are singling themselves out. Then you get 3 that picked Ohio State. You get 3 that picked Indiana. So the last 2 national champions only got 3 votes. And, you know, the champion before that didn't get any votes. Then you got Texas getting 4, Notre Dame getting 5, and Oregon getting 9. They all believe what they vote, but 9 of 28 believe that this is Oregon's year. And for what it's worth, we thought it's been Oregon's year for about 4 years now, and they keep getting closer, right? Stomping out Liberty in the New Year's Six Bowl. They're number 1 team in the country in most of 2024. They stopped the number 1 team in the country when they come to their house and they get blown up in the Rose Bowl. It's just how it went. They get back to the college football playoff, and again, they get blown up by the team that wins the national championship. Like, while many people are going to look at Dan Lanning's squad and go, they just can't get it done in the playoff, I'm going to be the person to tell you outside of Eugene, Oregon, They got beat by the last two national champions. And not for nothing, both of them are from their conference, and they were able to beat one of them once. Now, Indiana doubled them up, but still, what are the chances they're going to run up against a third straight Big Ten team that is on a collision course to win the national championship? Maybe that's their draw. Maybe that's what it is. But them getting picked is pretty wild for me because, again, they've never won a national championship, period. And they look closer, and I think Dante Moore returning, and then they had a rash of injuries to the running back room that did not help them. They had to move guys from defense, into the backfield before they played Indiana, and that ain't no great recipe for success. And then Dante Moore's first pass in that game is a pick six. Just, you don't expect it to absolutely fall to shambles the way that it did against Indiana. Then again, they got absolutely destroyed in the first half against Ohio State. In both of those games, they were just picked apart. Whatever it is they were showing, they showed it all the time. I mean, his booty and his red faced all up and down there. I was embarrassed for them on both of those accounts. Now, both the coordinators for those two teams are gone. So perhaps you're able to change your looks up or do something a little bit different. You get in that spot. But for now, the return of Dante Moore and the all-in nature of Oregon. Also, you get Evan Stewart back in wide receiver, DeCorian Moore back in wide receiver. You're just going to be that much better. It's, can you maintain health for the entire year? That's the only thing I think that could be stopping Oregon in 2026, apart from another juggernaut Big Ten team, and they got them like that. Whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Indiana, Penn State's going to make a comeback. Michigan is going to make a comeback. USC might be on to something with Gary Patterson as defense coordinator. I'm really intrigued by that hire. I think that might turn them into a monster if Gary Patterson can marry his defense with Lincoln Riley's explosive offense. We'll see. Then, Heisman Trophy, man. Okay, so one voter gave his vote to Malachi Tony. Another gave one to LSU quarterback Sam Leavitt. Another gave one to quarterback Jaden Maiava at SC. Two gave them to Jaden Maiava at USC. Two gave them to Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. Two gave them to Dante Moore. Two gave them to Julian Sayin. Three gave them to CJ Carr at Notre Dame. That's a nice bet because CJ Carr is going to have three dudes out there that can catch passes. Jordan Faison. And then we're talking about Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter. Throw the football, especially now that the Jeremiah Love era is over. Maybe that means you're a little bit more pass happy if you're Mike Denbrock. And by the way, Mike Denbrock had a Heisman Trophy quarterback by the name of Jaden Daniels, who had 3,800 yards passing, 1,100 yards on the ground, 50 total TDs. If CJ Carr got it like that, Mike Denbrock will find it. 4 gave votes to Arch Manning in a winner-go-home year. They went all in. They even kicked dudes off their team and removed the develop here tag that Ohio State be throwing around. Said, no, let's go bring in some dudes we know can win. Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers, Cam Coleman, come on down, among others. Then they fired the defense coordinator, Pete Kowski, bring in Will Muschamp. 11 of 28, almost half, picked Jeremiah Smith to win the Heisman Trophy. Some of this is he's due, right? He's been due for over a year. I think Travis Hunter did nobody else is going to do. That was the Heisman Trophy winner. He wasn't a Biletnikoff Award winner for me, but that was the Heisman Trophy winner, okay? Also got robbed of the Thorpe Award, which is ridiculous. Then, last year, not only do they not make that man the Biletnikoff Award winner, the dude finishes 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting, higher than any other wide receiver in the country, and they still don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Diego Pavia had a great year, and I realized the invitation needed to be extended there. And we always knew that Fernando Mendoza on an undefeated team, like the winner of the Ohio State-Indiana Big Ten championship game, is going to win the Heisman Trophy for me, period. And that's how it went. Some people would say it was going to be Fernando Mendoza anyway. Fine. A worthy winner and probably the number 1 overall pick to the Raiders if they get off the schneid and decide to hand Clint Kubiak the job, although I shouldn't say the schneid because that means that they've been losers. But no, it's the Raiders. It's the Raiders. And for those of y'all that are going to be loud in the comments, my mama's a Raiders fan. My mama was a Raiders fan going all the way back to the early 70s. My mama liked that with the Raiders, which means I got to hear about it all the time. And my daddy's a Seahawk fan. I've had to hear it. I've had to hear it and hear it and hear it and hear it. Jerry Jones he lives to make my life my family life that much miserable. It's like my daddy going, I didn't make you no Dallas Cowboys fan. You did that. You decided that you like Troy and Mike and Dion. I was trying to get you on Ricky Waters. It's like, don't nobody want to be on no Ricky Waters. Out of here. Steve Largent from Tulsa, whatnot. Hold on. Anyway, Jeremiah Smith feels like he's going to win it this year. What is it going to take for him to do it? Probably an outstanding season. If he has a 1,600-yard receiving season with 16 TDs, 90 catches, it's his. He won't have to do what Devontae Smith did, which is like 117 catches with like 1,800 yards, like 20 TDs, but it'll have to get close. And Ohio State will have to make the college football playoff. And you know what would be nice? The first Big Ten championship since 2020. That might do it.